Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Larry Bodenheimer and today we're taking a look at X-Worm. Now, before everybody gets excited and says, oh my god, a worm in 2024, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is not a worm, this is actually a rat. So if you're wondering why a remote access Trojan is called X-Worm, well, that's because AV companies that give these malwares names are very lazy and possibly stupid as well. But before we run the malware itself, let's go ahead and open up VirusTotal. This has 54 out of 72 detections. And if we go to details, we can see that this malware was created today, and it's really not that old. It's only a couple of hours old. So that is a unfathomable L. This malware writer is trash. There's no reason you should have 54 detections within a couple hours of your malware being released. So that is abysmal. It would actually take longer to see who does detect this rather than who does not. So I'm going to go ahead and just look at who isn't first. So we have Baidu, Alibaba, which I didn't know they had an AV, so there you go, you learned something new. Palo Alto Networks. I don't see any big names that aren't detecting this except for Webroot. One, nobody uses Webroot, and two, we all know Webroot sucks, so no surprise there. But if we take a look, Avast, AVG, Bitdefender, BCAF Pro, Avira, what other big names? Google, GData, ESET, MZSoft. Everybody has a signature for this, especially Kaspersky. And Bitdefender. Bitdefender has generic variant of jalapeno, but it is what it is. And if we go to community, we can see the only two people that have been here so far are Jaffa, because she's everywhere, and AnyRun. If we go to details, here's your MD5, your SHA-1, and your SHA-256. You won't have to type this down manually, though, because it will be in the comment section of this video. Here's your creation time. I usually don't pay much attention to creation time, but in this case, I feel like that is valid. I don't feel like that's been spoofed. And there's a bunch of names that have been associated with us. This looks like it come off of some malware repository, and this does as well. But we've also got Xclient, which is the version I have. Worm, which, yeah, okay. I don't know why you would be naming your malware Worm, but okay. And then we got some random strings, and that seems to be about it. We go to relations. We do have one contacted domain, but it's just Microsoft. We have 7 contacted IP addresses, though. This one is fine. It's just a Microsoft IP. This one, however, is a different IP out of Bulgaria. We do have 2 execution parents, joined.exe and scotes.exe, and they have a bunch of detections as well. And we have 4 bundled files, however, they've not been scanned or they have no detections. And again, we don't spend much time on behavior on this channel, but if you want to take a look, then I'll allow you to. We have 1 dynamic sandbox detection. Cape Sandbox flags this as malware. However, we have no crowdsource IDS rules and no crowdsource Sigma rules. So now let's go ahead and minimize this and let's show the tools that we're going to be using for this video. We have Process Hacker, Process Monitor, Wireshark, which I'll go ahead and restart and get ready for analysis, and Zooey. Last but not least, let's go ahead and take a look at the properties of this file. So if we go to details, maybe it tried, possibly. There's a file version, and that's about it. It does show up as language neutral, and date modified was 6:11 p.m. And that's about it. Here's your original file name, which is the one we have. Digital signatures, there are none. So, I mean, it gave a product version, but that's really it. So do with that as you will. And finally, let's get Process Hacker ready. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and run us some malware. Do you want to allow this app from an unknown publisher to make changes to your device? Why not? So we run that, and Xclient does start running in the background. However, it's using very little of the CPU, and at times, none at all. But if we take a look, well, it's not here yet, but if we keep an eye out, we'll eventually see a new task pop up under services. So if we keep an eye out for that, it's one that we've seen quite a few times on this channel that malware likes to use, but it's one that I haven't really paid that much attention to. The reason I'm paying attention to it now on this video is because we're not going to see many processes opening under the file itself. They're actually going to be opening under services, and then those other services are going to be opening under something else. So if we keep an eye out, we'll be able to see it soon. If we take a look at Wireshark, we can see that there is a bit of traffic being sent to and from this machine. I'm interested in the 87, and if we go to VirusTotal, that is actually the Bulgarian IP. So just keep that in mind. And I still don't see it open yet. It might take a minute, but while it does, I'll tell you what, since it hasn't done much yet, let's go ahead and stop this really quick, save it as 1, and then we're going to run it again. And I'm going to shove this through Zooey. So let's go over here, or sorry, wrong one. Let's go to import data, documents, 1.pcap, and let's let that analyze. Shouldn't take much time at all. I'm really surprised that I'm not seeing this other service though. And we can see that the malware is definitely running because it is using RAM and it is using CPU, even though it's using very little. But let's see here. We could take a look at the tags while we wait. The only tags it has are assembly and calls WMI. It doesn't say anything about persistence. It doesn't say anything about detecting a debug environment, which is insanely rare because VirusTotal just loves to throw that out. But that's all we got so far. And keep in mind, we don't have many tags and information about this yet because this is relatively new malware. But if we take a look at Zooey, let's see if it's found anything yet. There's only 62 rows. We have known hosts. No, we don't have anything on the packet capture yet, which is fine. We only had 200 and some odd packets that were captured in the first place. But we do still have information being sent to and from that IP address. I'm surprised that it's still not running. Okay. In the meantime, let's get this ready for process monitor. So let's open filter. We're going to do 2 filters. We're going to do operation is create file, and then we're going to do process name is xclient.exe. So we'll add that. We'll click apply. Might take a few seconds because we do have 5.5 million events that have been captured. And we have 324 events. And maybe more coming. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this really quick. I'll go ahead and say now the thing we're looking for is Trusted Installer. A lot of malware samples like to use Trusted Installer to install other programs, but for some reason we're just not seeing that. Yet again, malware doing things that it did not do in testing. But we'll minimize that for now, and we'll just keep a focus on process monitor instead. It did delete its prefetch, unfortunately. We do have a bunch of DLLs that are being used. I've seen all of these before. There's really not much new. PowerShell API, okay. That's interesting enough. I don't think I've seen that before in malware, but there we go. We've got assembly. So it definitely is using assembly to run and depackage itself. We got Microsoft.NET Framework. Not really doing much that we can see. Shell32.dll, fair enough. And that seems to be about it. Doesn't look like it's creating any other files, which would go with what VirusTotal said. It didn't say it dropped any files, it just said it had 2 parent files. If you take a look, it's still running. And we can see, if we go back to Wireshark, it's still communicating with that Bulgarian IP. So next what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and open Firefox, and we're going to open Abuse IPDB, and Whois. I didn't need to open a new tab, that was my fault. We're going to go and copy this Bulgarian IP address. And no, not copy the link, just copy that. And we're going to run it through Abuse IPDB, and we're going to run it through the Whois. So it was not found in their database. The domain name is natera.net. It says the city is in Broadway, but that doesn't make any sense because that's the United States. Okay, let's go to the Whois. And see what they have to say about that. It says the address is in Boulder, Colorado. Did I copy the right one? Yeah, I definitely did. Okay, so this server is not in Bulgaria. It is in the US. And it probably is in New Jersey. That is so weird. Okay, I tell you what, we're going to open this in a new tab and we're going to reanalyze it. It was only analyzed 53 minutes ago. Let's look at details really quick. Uh, it just says country Bulgaria, continent EU, last HTTPS certificate, a JARM fingerprint. Okay, issuer localhost. Validity not before and not after, so its own issued HTTPS certificate is expired and has been for 5 years. Signature algorithm, net name Maccabi, description, country US. So even the WHOIS is showing it's out of the United States. So why exactly is it showing that this server is in Bulgaria? We'll reanalyze it again, and then I'm also going to go ahead and try to connect to it directly. This almost never works, but can't say I didn't try. Look at that. Okay. Apache Friends, XAMPP Apache plus Maria database plus PHP plus Perl. Welcome to XAMPP for Windows 8.0.30. You've successfully installed XAMPP on the system. Now you can start using Apache, blah blah blah, and other components. You can find more info in the frequently asked questions or check the how-to guides for getting started with PHP applications. It's meant only for development purposes. It has certain configuration settings that make it easy to develop locally, but that are insecure if you want to have your installation accessible to others. Start the control panel to check the server status. It's been around for more than 10 years. There's a huge community behind it. You can get involved by joining our forums, liking us on Facebook, or following our exploits on Twitter. I'm not going to do that on this video because, like I said, again, a lot of the things that we see on this channel are legitimate programs and websites, and I don't want people to start getting harassed because they showed up in my malware video. But I will actually take a look at this off video, and I will let you know in the comments what I think about it, or in the description what I think about it. Either one. But that seems to be okay with me. I don't know why it has two detections. I didn't reanalyze. I don't know why it doesn't do that. It's detected by webroot. Well, okay, what a freaking shock there. And CRDF. But ESET also finds it suspicious. I hate that it never tells you why. It's just like, yeah, this is malicious, absolutely. Or yeah, this is phishing. It does have a lot of malicious communicating files though, and if I had to guess, they're all probably from the same family. So that would explain why it's showing up as malicious. It is a shame, but there's just nothing we can do about it. Okay, fair enough. Let's take a look at Process Hacker. It is still running, and the trusted installer has still not executed. Okay, unfortunate, but it is what it is. I tell you what, if we go to filter and we try, tell you what, let's just try trusted installer.exe. I don't know if this is going to work. I've never tried it, but wouldn't hurt to give it a shot. And then after this, I'm just going to restart the computer and see if anything shows up. I will shove this through Zooey again, but not much has changed. And I doubt if it didn't find anything the first time, that it's going to find anything this time, but it's worth taking a look. And yeah, this is all we've got. So we've got... Let's see. I don't know why I expanded that. Windows Serving Stack, CBS. Yeah. There's nothing suspicious here, which is unfortunate. So the last thing we can really do is take a look at Zooey and then restart the computer and see if it has persistence. Which I believe it could. You know, most of these I can usually take a look at it and say, yeah, this doesn't have persistence. This is just a simple info stealer. But I do believe we have a rat here. It could also be that we even have a remote client. I'd go as far as to say that. Because right now it doesn't seem like it's exfiltrating much data. We've got 690 rows. Let's skim through this really quick. Now we got suricata, app layer, wrong direction. As this also, yeah, suricata. A lot of HTTP stuff, though. So I will take a look at that in Wireshark again. I'll just have to reload the packet capture. Okay, we're just gonna ignore all the alert 3s. We do have a notice. Invalid certification, but that's Microsoft IP, so nothing too suspicious there. Yeah, if they're layered like that and there's more than one next to each other, I'm not even gonna look. Or if they're like that and they're just showing up constantly, it's suricata. And I don't believe we're gonna get much else. We got a notice here. It's another Microsoft IP and another. Matter of fact, I think these all might be the same one. Yeah, they are. Maybe. Not the exact same identical IP, but they're probably grouped together. And yeah, unfortunately, nothing that just shows up and sticks out to us. So the last thing that we're going to be able to do is just restart the virtual machine. And then I can take a look at those HTTP connections in Wireshark because I'll admit I forgot to. But we'll let this load up really quick and then I'll do that. First thing we're going to do is log in as quick as possible, run straight for Process Hacker to see if anything shows up. And then I will open up Wireshark and take a look at 2.pcap. Not the first one, but the second one. Because if I remember correctly, the first one didn't have any HTTP. So let's go to Process Hacker. Oh, we do have... That was interesting. Okay. Not necessarily malicious on its own. It could just be startup processes. And I'm not seeing anything from the malware itself. Now, it still could take a little bit to load up. And it could be under services as well. As a matter of fact, it probably is under services. Nothing here. Nothing here. If this really was just a simple info stealer, I'm going to be very disappointed. That does look to be the case, but I'm not gonna call it yet. Let's go ahead and open Ethernet, and well, I didn't need to do that. Well, let's go ahead and open that packet capture. Stop. 2.pcap.ng. There's some like little kids screaming outside. They've been doing that for the past few days. It's really getting on my nerves. We're gonna do HTTP. And okay, these are all just certificate. Wait, maybe not. This may have been from my connection to the IP, though. I believe it is. You know what? It's probably not. Because, what was the time? Actually, no. These were only like 1 second apart. Okay, now, some of these definitely aren't mine. I was suspicious of these because they were different, like, packet numbers. But then I looked and saw they were like 1 second apart. This is like a minute and a half apart, and it's... Okay, so it definitely is accessing this website for something, and it's doing it in HTTP, but I'm not seeing it download anything. So most likely, what the heck is that? Oh, XML, okay. So most likely what it's doing is it's reaching out and just making sure that that IP is still up. Is this also XML? Yeah, it is, okay. But, that's going to be about it for X-Worm. I know this one wasn't really in your face, and it's not really cool. It doesn't have any persistence or anything. But I did notice that it's like a couple hours old, and everybody detects it, which is just hilarious. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video anyway. If you guys did enjoy, please make sure to leave a like, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and let me know if there's anything I did not do in this video that you want to see for future ones, so I know to do it in the future. My name is Larry Bodenheimer, you guys have been amazing, and I will see you in the next one.